Hello, it's January 3rd. I'm Ezra Levant, and you're watching Battleground. Hello, my friends. 14 minutes ago, Canada released a statement by Canada's foreign minister about the tensions, the battle, I'm not going to call it a war because I don't think it is a war yet, between the United States and Iran. Maybe we can call that up on the screen. I just tweeted it, Justin, literally 15 minutes ago now. And it is an incredible statement because Justin Trudeau is now in his third week of vacationing in Costa Rica. Today marks the third week he's down there. So this is what François-Philippe Champagne, the new foreign minister, has to say. Canada is in contact with our international partners. What does that mean? The safety and well-being of Canadians in Iraq and the region, including our troops and diplomats, is our paramount concern. Okay, so he said nothing so far. We call on all sides to exercise restraint and pursue de-escalation. Hang on. So there's the American side, and then there's the Iranian side. The American side is the democratically elected government of Donald Trump, our NATO and NORAD ally. In fact, a Canadian is nominally in charge of the Allied forces in Iraq. I know Americans would find that amusing because Canada has so few troops there. I think there's 250 troops in the entire region, maybe a few hundred more. But a Canadian, I mean, good for it's to practice integration between Canada and the United States. I totally support it. In fact, that's proof of how integrated we are with the United States, even though we pulled out our CF-18 jets long ago, et cetera. So we are our closest friend, our closest ally. They had their embassy attacked on December 31st, and in response, they took out a terrorist leader of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, Al-Quds Force. And Canada's telling both sides to settle down? Justin Trudeau is styling himself as somewhere in the middle between the United States and Iran, a broker of sorts. Throw up a picture of, if you can find them on my Twitter feed. Trudeau's in Costa Rica. As I said, today marks the beginning of the third week of his vacation in Costa Rica. Who takes vacations that long? What is he, like a kid at summer camp or something? Here's a photo of a bearded Justin, or not quite bearded, he hasn't shaven in almost a week there, at a liquor store or a convenience store, I'm not quite sure, in Costa Rica. There's another one, I tweeted another one where he looks even more haggard. He's obviously drinking, and as we know, he's an enthusiast of marijuana, was even before it was legalized. So basically, Justin Trudeau, there we go. That's the close-up of him. That's actually a selfie he took with someone else. I don't know if you can find it on my screen. Here's we got a picture of him making sandcastles. This was in an earlier trip to the Caribbean. Wasn't from this year. But Justin Trudeau, there we go. I don't know if those are sandcastles or sand minarets or something, but that's what Justin Trudeau does for weeks at a time. He left, I don't know if you know this, but Prince Harry and Meghan Markle arrived in Canada 15 days ago. And, they're part of Canada's royal family too. The Queen is our monarch. I don't think Prince Harry will ever be king, thank God. He would be, fourth in line or something, third in line. But you'd think Trudeau would stick around like an extra 12 hours to greet the royal family. No, he wanted to get down to Costa Rica. He is now in his third week of vacationing in Costa. Who even has the attention span to vacation for 3 weeks? Like, doesn't he? Like, I have a small company called Rebel News. We have small problems and small issues and small budgets and a small staff, and I find it distracting and engaging. And like, imagine if you're allegedly the prime minister of a 35 million person country, and you're not curious about things. You just don't even care. And this situation with Iran has been white hot for 4 days now, and you're still on holidays, and you can't be bothered to issue a statement. You're probably still high or on the beach, or maybe you haven't gotten up yet because it's only, 11 a.m. in Costa Rica or whatever time it is. So you have your foreign minister put out a statement. I don't even know if Trudeau approved it. I don't even think he reads it. Can we put it up again? I just want to read it again. It doesn't say we're with our best friend and NATO ally. It doesn't say we stand with our neighbors and with the democracy. It says we call, it's 3/4 of the way down. We call on all sides to exercise restraint and pursue de-escalation. Hey, America, we're calling on you to exercise restraint and de-escalate. You're not doing this right, guys? Canada has long been concerned by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Codes Force, led by Qasem Soleimani, whose aggressive actions have had a destabilizing effect in the region and beyond. That's a terrorist group that's actually, can you Google Canada terrorist list? And then you can search on that page. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Codes Force. Sorry, I'm trying to remember it verbatim by memory. It is actually a listed terrorist entity, even in Canada. So just Google Canada terrorist listings, and then click on the listings, and you'll get a list of about 20 or 30 terrorist entities. This group was on them. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Yeah. And then scroll up just a little bit. Yeah, right there. Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Codes Force. Do you see it there? Scroll up to the very top of this page so people can see. Yeah, currently listed entities. So this is the U.S. Department of Homeland Security has this. This is from Canada's Public Safety Department. There's a lot of Al's there. Al-Qaeda, Al-Shabaab, Al-Aqsa, Ansar, all this, And if you go down to Islamic, there's a lot of Islamics on there, isn't it? Islamic, Mujahideen, Hezbollah, whatever. Islamic State. You can see there, Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Codes Force. So go back to Champagne's statement. I just wanted to prove to you that's not that's a terrorist group. And this guy Soleimani was the leader of it. So look at the last paragraph here. We've long been concerned by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Codes Force led by Qasem Soleimani. And yet you'll notice that the word terrorist appears nowhere here. And the worst they'll say is, they're a bit aggressive and they're a bit destabilizing, but we call on both the Codes Force and Donald Trump. We call on all sides to exercise restraint. Hey, you terrorists, simmer down, all right? Yeah, you guys, come on. And Donald Trump, you too. This is what Canada's statement is. It's absolutely easy to believe. I think I missed a super chat there. Proud Boys Calgary, $7. First 2020 super chat. Happy New Year, Rebels. I'm proud of your boy. I woke up today expecting an Iranian terror attack and praying that I'm wrong. Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens. It was interesting. Just yesterday, I was talking to Joel Pollack about what was going on, because I tell you, when I saw those Iranian militias in Iraq trying to storm the American embassy. I got all sorts of bad remembrances of the storming of the U.S. consulate in Benghazi, Libya, when Hillary Clinton just hit the snooze button and didn't give a damn. And before that, Americans in Mogadishu. Before that, the American embassy being stormed in Iran itself. And Donald Trump hit back so hard. As he threatened, can we put up the threat tweets? So all these Iran-backed militias. And by the way, this Soleimani was killed in Iraq. So look at this. 4:19 p.m. on December 31st. The U.S. Embassy in Iraq is and has been for hours safe. Many of our great warfighters, together with the most lethal military equipment in the world, was immediately rushed to the site. Thank you to the President and Prime Minister of Iraq for the rapid response upon request. Yeah, right, they didn't do a damn thing. Iran will be held fully responsible for lives lost or damage incurred at any of our facilities. They will pay a very big price. This is not a warning, it is a threat. Happy New Year. There's that Trump style. He's so funny, even when he's being bloody-minded. Now, I'm seeing, for example, here's Rose McGowan, and I have a lot of sympathy for Rose McGowan because she was raped by Harvey Weinstein, and I think she's been screwed up for life. But she actually tweeted, and if you look at the actual tweet, there's this, underneath it, she's flying a Iranian flag. It's cut off here, but I'll read this anyways. Dear Iran, she writes, the USA has disrespected your country, your flag, your people. 52% of us humbly apologize. We want peace with your nation. We are being held hostage by a terrorist regime. We do not know how to escape. Please do not kill us. And then she has the terrorist named Soleimani. Now that's sad. And again, I'm not going to be too harsh on Rose McGowan because she was an incredibly beautiful young actress who was absolutely destroyed by Harvey Weinstein and all his enablers in Hollywood. I think she's just as mentally unwell as Greta Thunberg, frankly. So I'm not mad at her for saying those crazy things. We're held hostage by a terrorist. We're sorry for Iran. Sorry to bother you. I'm not particularly mad at her. She didn't say any of those things when Iran's militias attacked the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad. I swear I'm not mad at Rose McGowan, but thousands of Democrats and journalists and political leaders liked and retweeted that because they agree. That's how crazy it is. But look, an embassy is a little patch of foreign soil in your own country where countries mutually agree this is your soil, this is our soil, even though it's geographically over there and you're over here. We will treat this as if it's your own country. We will even treat your diplomats, we'll give them a legal status called diplomatic immunity. So theoretically, and it does occasionally happen, a foreign diplomat in our country commits a murder even. I remember when there was an old Russian diplomat that killed a woman on the streets of Ottawa in a drunk driving accident, I think it was. And he was immune to prosecution in Canada. He was sent back to Russia. Now they had a trial there, which is how it's done. Because you can't put a foreign diplomat on trial in your own country, even if he did something horrible like a murder. I don't know if it was manslaughter. I don't know how that trial wound up. Because it's just too many risks of political entrapment or a sham trial. So Russia did the right thing by putting him on trial. I suppose a country could waive diplomatic immunity against its own diplomat, but I'm going down that tangent too much. My point is, an embassy is, like the U.S. Embassy in Iraq is, legally speaking, American soil. And obviously all the people in it are American citizens. And what the hell is a Iranian terrorist general doing in Iraq to begin with? By the way, the United States and to a degree Canada was invited in there. by a variety of legal and diplomatic mechanisms. What the hell's Iran doing there? That's an important point. Is this because Qasem Soleimani, sorry, I forgot his name for a second there. He was in Iraq. He was killed in Iraq, where apparently he was plotting more violence against American interests in the region. Rose McGowan knows whose side she's on. She's only slightly further down the road than Justin Trudeau, isn't she? Chaz 1422, militias attacking the embassy waved Hezbollah flags. Hadi al-Amiri, the militia leader, was once invited as a guest to the Obama White House. Yeah, that's crazy, and I think we showed this yesterday when we interviewed Joel, is some of the actual terrorists outside the embassy yesterday were honored guests in the Obama White House just a few years ago, which shows you who Obama's side was. Yeah, Obama, Trudeau, Rose McGowan, they're all on the side of the bad guys. Now, obviously, I don't want a full-blown war, but, you know, decapitating the head of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard as a pinpoint retaliation to the attempted storming of an American embassy, that seems pretty proportionate to me. I mean, I know it's a mortal blow to the security, terrorism, military, strategic infrastructure of Iran. That's sort of the point. That's Donald Trump saying, oh, by the way, you can't attack our embassies with impunity anymore. Which is sort of, yeah, look at this here. Scroll down a bit, let's see if we got the photos there. Yeah, you see that guy? I don't know if you can zoom in and all there. That's Barack Obama on the right, and on the left there is Hadi al-Amiri. So he's wearing a suit, honored guest. I think that's the Oval Office, right? So and who's that on over the fireplace? Is that a picture of George Washington? So you've got this Iranian terrorist as an honored guest. And look, he's wearing a suit and tie. And by the way, Iranians don't often wear ties. They regard that as a Western symbol. But they knew this was a photo op, and they knew they had an ally in Obama. And do we have the image of that same guy, al-Amiri, leading the charge against the embassy? Maybe scroll up a bit. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But yeah, that's who Obama was friends with. So I enjoy Twitter, and it's full of hot takes, and a lot of people are saying, oh my God, this is leading to war. I don't know about that. To me, it showed a few things. It showed that America can act quickly, decisively, and with pinpoint accuracy, taking out a very high-level VIP terrorist gangster with very little collateral damage, almost immediately. Like, it happened yesterday, January 2nd, 48 hours after the attempted storming of the embassy in Baghdad? That's pretty quick. So what's Iran going to do? More of the same? Oh, and by the way, the U.S. picked up the leaders of 2 Iranian militias in Iraq, arrested them. I don't know what they're going to do with them. So is Iran going to punch back? Maybe. And maybe through their proxies in other places like Hezbollah against Israel. Maybe there'll be terrorist attacks. But I think Donald Trump is showing that simple game theory, I think it's called, of tit for tat. Donald Trump hasn't particularly picked fights with Iran in his 3 years as president. He just hasn't. He's put on sanctions, and they're taking a bit of a bite, but that's no more than other countries around the world did, have done, are doing. This was a very direct assault on American sovereignty and sovereign territory. That was my whole point about embassies. When you attack the American embassy in Baghdad, it is morally, politically, legally, constitutionally sovereignty, no different than attacking an American government office in Washington, D.C. It's no different, legally, diplomatically, constitutionally. And Trump is saying, I don't know what you've got away with for the last 40, 50 years, but you're not getting away with that now. And that's a pretty big smackback. And it's not just Iran that is paying very keen attention right now, but I put it to you, North Korea is too. Don't you think? Kim Jong-un was saying some erratic things, as he often does. I think he has had a sobering day, don't you think? And I mean, it reminds me of when Ronald Reagan, in a much more calm and domestic example, shortly after he was elected, the air traffic controllers of the United States went on strike. They were legislated back to work. They refused to go back to work. And they basically dared Ronald Reagan to do something about it, so he did. He fired every single one of them. Oh my God, that's going to shut down all of air traffic in the United States. Well, it would, other than the fact that Ronald Reagan put military air traffic controllers in all the airports, and the whole world said, oh, wow, this guy's a bit different from Jimmy Carter. And after the Berlin Wall fell and we learned more about the former Soviet Union, that was a key moment where the Soviets said, this Ronald Reagan, we better deal with him in a different way. He's not a pushover like Jimmy Carter. And just as Ronald Reagan was a successor to Jimmy Carter and Carter's weakness, as you recall, Iran stormed the U.S. embassy in Tehran, took 50 hostages for a year and a half. And Jimmy Carter allowed that. So just as that gave way to Reagan, Barack Obama's total appeasement of Iran has given way to Trump. Now, obviously, it was not the main factor electing Trump, but it was part of it, I think. And I think every country around the world has just got a bit of a measure of Donald Trump. And he's not invading. It's not invading. Whereas there's no invasion. You couldn't invade. I mean, how many U.S. troops are even in the region grand total? You couldn't invade. You can do surgical strikes like that. You can, I don't know how close the nearest aircraft carrier is. You're not going to have a massive ground war invasion of Iran. But will there be more decapitation strikes, more special forces strikes? I think so. And you know what? Tit for tat. I remember when I was in college, we learned about this very simple, I think it was called game theory. Maybe I'm misremembering. But let's say two people, I'm going to try and remember what I learned in college, and this is 26 years ago or 28 years ago. Let's say there's a game where if you're both friendly towards each other, you get +1 points. But if someone's friendly towards you and you're unfriendly towards him, you get +5 and he gets like -1. But if you're both unfriendly to each other, you both get -2 or something. My point is, as long as you're friendly to each other, you'll both be doing well. The minute the other guy goes hostile to you, you're gonna lose. So there's an incentive to trick or go negative on the other guy. I don't know if I'm explaining this well, but here's the thing. And this is 20 plus years ago when I studied this. There was a very simple computer program that gamed out the best way to play that game. And my points weren't exactly right there. But you take my point, if you're both friendly to each other, you do modestly well. If you're both unfriendly to each other, you do modestly poorly. But if one's friendly and the other's unfriendly, it's extremely lopsided. So there's a temptation to defect and be the bad guy, but then you'll both be negative to each other. So the long-term benefit, according to this computer program that ran the simulation a gazillion times, the optimal way to play that game, and I'm sorry I didn't explain the rules best, the computer figured it out, the simulations, and it was a program of extremely simple called tit for tat. The computer always started being friendly, and whatever the other side did, that's what the computer would do back the next time. So the computer started friendly in good faith, I come in peace, Oh, you're in peace too? Let's do that again. Oh, you're in peace? Let's do that again. Oh, you've defected and you've gone negative against me? I'm going to do that to you. And I'm going to keep doing that to you until you stop doing that to me, and then I'm going to be friendly again. I'm sorry I took too much time with this analogy, but it was an extremely simple computer simulation that was the optimal way to play that game. And what's my point? Is under Barack Obama and under Jimmy Carter, America played that game stupidly. They would let the other guy smack America, and they wouldn't smack back. The tit-for-tat computer simulation would say, oh, they just attacked your embassy, now you do something back to them, tit-for-tat, and when they de-escalate, then you de-escalate the next turn. So you owe them a smack back. Jimmy Carter and Barack Obama never smacked back. They never had a tit-for-tat. They just kept turning the other cheek, and again, and again. Naivete, in the case of Jimmy Carter, perhaps. Self-loathing of America, in the case of Barack Obama, a man who said he believed in a post-American world. Donald Trump is not that way. I mean, seriously, you just had, can we call up some B-roll of the attack? Like, did we show it yet? I want to show some B-roll of the attack on the embassy on December 31st, where they took a pole and were trying to smash their way in. All I could think about was Benghazi. What was the name of that? Yeah, so here they are. You can see some flags. There's some Hezbollah flags there. So this is right outside the embassy. U.S. Embassy. They're literally on the grounds. Now, they're not using rocket-propelled grenades or anything, but they're flying there. There's Iranian flags. There's Iranian militias. Yeah, they're torching things. Do you have that image? I saw it on Twitter of when they had. Yeah, look at this. This don't look good. Like, this absolutely reminded me of Benghazi. Now, I don't know if that smoke is from the bad guys outside or if that's from the good guys inside. But there was this moment where they tried to smash their way in through the door, and they're on the roofs there. I think those are Hezbollah flags, the yellow ones. Anyhow, take my word for it, there was this moment where these guys were trying to smash through a door with like a pole. They weren't very successful at it. That is an invasion of American territory. Can we show the, you know that clip we used yesterday with the B-roll of the V-22 Osprey coming down on the, that was sort of awesome. So Ambassador Steve, yeah, there we go. You see this is night vision, I think, or some AR. So those airplanes are an interesting airplane. I think they're used by the U.S. Marines only. It's called the V-22 Osprey. It's an airplane, but the actual rotors tilt up so they can land right on the roof or something. Show some more of that B-roll if we can. There's some really interesting, like it's just very interesting to see. So they didn't, I think they only deployed 100 Marines. I don't know how many can fit in each of those V-22s, maybe 20. Maybe not even. But all it took was 100 Marines just to smarten it up. And I think they used non-lethal weapons. And they flew in from Kuwait. I don't know how long it took, but not too long. As Trump said, it's the anti-Benghazi. You know, I was looking at the map today. Yeah, this is what I mean. This was the other image. Thanks for finding this. So they were, yeah, you see that? They're trying to smash their way in. They're taking signs, poles and stuff, trying to smash, like, and the fire is scary. Look at that, smashing. That was probably, yeah, and you can see the towers there. Well, where, those are towers, well, who's guarding? I forget which clip this is from. Enough is enough time to send in the Marines. This is actually a spokesman account of the U.S. government. So here's a U.S. Marine in Kuwait. These are the Marines getting ready. There's the Osprey. Pretty big aircraft, looks like. And they're getting ready to deploy. These are serious guys. There's the Ospreys going up. There's MV-22 Osprey, and then they are landing in Baghdad in the green zone. And I don't know what time that would be, but yeah, when those guys arrive, those little hooligans outside, it was all over. Imagine if just one V-22 Osprey would have landed at Benghazi. That would have been all it would have taken. In fact, just across the Mediterranean in northern Italy, there's an air base called Aviano. It's a joint Italy-US air base. Lots of F-16s there. I don't know all the aircraft there. They could have just sent literally one F-16. You know, it's 1,000 kilometers, so 1,000 miles, I forget. F-16 goes quickly. It can do that in an hour and a half. And just to come down and just to go very low, just to whiz by, not even shoot, just to scare the hell out of those ragtag militias, they would have scattered. 29 requests were never answered. Trump answered the requests of Baghdad on the first time. In come the Marines, no problem. But it was still an assault. You saw it. And maybe it wasn't quite tit for tat. Maybe it was tit for 20 tats. That's Donald Trump's way, isn't it? Donald Trump can be, actually, I mean, he's a rough and tumble guy, but he can be obsequiously friendly to someone who's friendly to him. But you cross him, like you attack his embassy, you try and give him a Benghazi black eye. Well, he's going to smack back hard. And it's pretty amazing that he had the ability to do that within 48 hours. Richard Evans chips in $10. Thank you very much for that. Just for folks who don't know, a super chat, you can chip in $5, $10, whatever. And Richard Evans did so for $10, so there was no accompanying comment there, but you can make your comment highlighted, and I'll read it for sure. I'll see it out of the corner of my eye. Hey, remember when that very brave military canine named Conan helped track down and kill Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, the head of ISIS? Remember that? That wasn't too long ago. That was just a couple months ago. I'm trying to remember exactly when that was. It wasn't very long ago. Al-Baghdadi, the head of ISIS, terrible, terrible butcher, torturer, really evil. Not just an opponent, but a truly evil man who legally sanctioned rape as a weapon of war. So when al-Baghdadi was finally killed and Trump brought the dog to the White House later, it was very, I thought it was, there it is, look at that. That's a serious dog. That is a serious dog, and his handler there, yeah, don't let that thing off the leash. Mike Pence pet it. I'll be honest with you, I like dogs, and I don't think I would pet a dog that is literally a weapon. Like it looks like a friendly dog there, and he looks like he's enjoying getting a little bit of a scratch behind his ears from Mike Pence. And I bet Mike Pence is really casual and easygoing around dogs, but I would just think to myself, don't touch the killer dog. Because who knows, maybe he's trained a little bit differently. Maybe I just wouldn't have had the courage. I mean, I like dogs, and they like to be pet, but I don't think. Anyhow, my point is, after al-Baghdadi was killed, and that dog Conan went after him, and Baghdadi blew himself up, the Washington Post had an obituary for al-Baghdadi, and they called him, I swear to God, an austere religious scholar. Austere means like he lived a simple life. That's what they called him, an austere. Can you find that? Just type in austere religious leader or religious scholar. It was one of those things. And then I'm going to throw to the revered leader image that you've got, Justin. So we're not even talking about neutral reportage. When you were calling the head of ISIS an austere religious leader, you are deliberately choosing to ignore his central activity, his central chief defining characteristic, He was the head of a terrorist group. Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. Oh, go up a bit. Oh, did they change it? Extremist. Oh, they changed the headline in reaction to outrage. Yeah. Oh, there it is. Yeah, that's the original. Thank you for finding that. An austere religious scholar. Justin just reminds me in my ear that because of a massive backlash, they changed the original headline. But their original headline that I remembered was they called al-Baghdadi an austere religious scholar. Let me read that first paragraph. When Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi took the reins of the Islamic State of Iraq in 2010, few had heard of the organization or its new leader, then an austere religious scholar with wire-frame glasses and no known aptitude for fighting and killing. What a good guy. He's like the guy next door. They actually put austere religious scholar in the headline. And look what they did yesterday for this Qasem Soleimani, the head of the... There we go, same Washington Post. Breaking news, airstrike at Baghdad airport kills Iran's most revered military leader, Qasem Soleimani. Most revered. But hang on, was he a military leader or was he a terrorist? Well, he was both. And I can't even believe, like, that's crazy. But can you show Champagne's statement again? Now, I know we've got some viewers from the United States and the United Kingdom. I want to show you this absolutely awful statement that Justin Trudeau's foreign minister put out about 45 minutes ago. Look at the third paragraph. We call on all sides to exercise restraint and pursue de-escalation. Oh, okay. So I know there's the U.S. side, or as we call it, the allies. And I know there's the Iran side, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard side, or as we call it, the terrorists. You'll notice the word terrorist does not appear here. And Justin Trudeau's foreign minister, Trudeau himself is still on vacation in Costa Rica. He's entering his third week there now. We call on all sides. Hey, Donald Trump, Justin Trudeau thinks you should exercise restraint and de-escalate. Hey, excuse me, Donald Trump. Hey, excuse me, President Trump. Hi, President Trump, Canada here. Our guy's been on vacation in Costa Rica for more than 2 weeks, and he just put down the bong for a minute, and he's got something to say. Hey, can you exercise restraint and de-escalate? All right, thanks, dude. All right, I'm getting back to these harsh waves. Unbelievable. Actually, completely believable. Hey, Canada's Globe and Mail can be as stupid as the rest of them. You want to put up their tweet? Was he revered? Was he an austere scholar? Was he a revered military leader? Well, according to Canada's Globe and Mail, he was an icon. I mean, he was a style icon. And he was a sexy beast. The Globe and Mail is calling him an icon. An icon. You'll notice the word terrorist there, but hey, if Justin Trudeau's foreign minister won't say terrorist, why should the Globe and Mail? Unbelievable, but completely believable. Let me take some more chats about this, or comments, and then I want to tell you about Justin Trudeau and his, he sent us a registered letter. A letter by registered mail. If you know what that means, it's sort of, that's how you serve a legal document in Canada against a company. I'll tell you about that in a couple minutes. Let me see if there's any more interesting comments. If anyone wants me to read something, feel free to put it in a super chat and it'll jump out. Irish Bob, Soleimani is a finger looking for a hand. That's a reference to, he's got this big red ruby ring, like it's an enormous ring, like as big as a Super Bowl ring. And I don't know the meaning of that ring. I don't know if it had a religious meaning or a personal meaning or a political meaning or where it came from or who it was stolen from or bought from or who gave it to him as a gift. Maybe the Ayatollah gave it to him as a gift. I don't know, but this guy, Qasem Soleimani, if I got it, pronouncing his name right, he wore this big, you see that ring there? Like that's Super Bowl size. That's not like Western Canada High School class of '89. That's like, I won the Super Bowl, but this guy not a football, like I wonder what it is, but do you have the image? It's sort of gruesome. One of the ways they identified the body was that hand and that ring on the tarmac in Baghdad. And I want to emphasize that again. This Iranian general was spending as much time in Iraq as anywhere else. He was colonizing Iraq. America went in, spent countless lives, trillions of dollars, and Iran said, all right, thanks very little. We'll just, yeah, we'll show it. Go ahead. Yeah, there you go. Sort of gruesome. There's the ring. All right, we can take that down. Yeah, got him. All right, so that's Iran. What do I think is going to happen? I think that Iran is stunned because no American has pushed back on them in 40 odd years. Jimmy Carter didn't. Even Reagan, he just got the hostages out. George W. Bush let himself be pushed around. Barack Obama positively shipped pallets of money there. It's been a very, very long time since America asserted itself in Iran. In just a basic self-respect kind of way. Oh, a big Iranian-led attack on our embassy? Yeah, we're going to poke back at you in a way that you won't forget, and maybe you won't do it again. It's that tit for tat, but a little bit more aggressively than just the tit for tat algorithm I mentioned before. I see a couple super chats. Vernon Beck, $10. We all must contribute to keep journalism alive if we want to protect the freedom we enjoy today. Keep up the good work, Rebel News. Hey, thanks, Vernon. Richard Evans, Ezra, hitting these higher up leaders is really the answer to ending wars. Trump is always saying peace and trade and prosperity. To end these attacks depends on him hitting the top people. I think you're so right. And in addition to killing this top guy, and people have said he would be like knocking out the vice president of the United States, but actually like the vice president and the defense secretary and the CIA, because this guy, Soleimani, was the chief strategist, the chief executive, really, of Iran, second only to the Ayatollah. So very, very senior. And as I said, America arrested the two Iranian-backed militia bosses in Iraq. If I was an Iranian planning a counterpoint to so remember, we've just had the tit for tat. The tit was the attack on the embassy. The tat was the attack on this head of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. So if you want to go another round, there's going to be another round back. See what I mean? I mean, I think Trump, in Trump's mind, it's even now. If I'm using that tit for tat analogy of that simulation I did back in college, which I didn't explain very well, I'm sorry. Oh, there's another super chat. El Chapacabra. Iran just lost their best general. I'm not too worried about what they throw our way. Well, the thing is, you don't need a best general to fire rockets or to press go on terrorist attacks that have probably been planned and maybe even practiced, right? A best general would help all those things, but Iran still has a terrorist and even a military capacity to do things. I'm not saying to do things that would be militarily significant, although they could be. Or even to do things that would be devastating, although they could be. But if I was the new Iranian leader of the military, I would be thinking, well, if we push back, maybe I'm going to be decapitated next. That's the thing about going after the absolute top boss. And they know Trump means it. Like, this is no Barack Obama they're dealing with. This is no Jimmy Carter. In fact, he's tougher than Ronald Reagan. Tougher than John F. Kennedy, I'll tell you that. All right, it's 12:45. We've talked for 45 minutes about Trump and Iran. I'm going to do my show on this tonight. I don't know how many of you subscribe to my paywall show, but every day at 8 p.m. Eastern, I do a longer produced show, and I'm going to talk about this, and I've got some more things I'll show you. So if you want more Iran content, please join in then. But I would be remiss if I didn't talk about something that happened to Rebel News over the Christmas break. I was taking it easy with my family. In fact, I was literally sitting down with them at lunch with my family, taking a break. And I got an email from our receptionist here who went to our mailbox where there was a registered letter sent by registered mail, which in Canada is a formal way of serving a document in certain cases. And I'd like to put that on the screen for you now. Can you zoom in just a little bit? Yeah, thanks, perfect. Just go up a bit, I'm going to read the letterhead at the very top. Do you see at the top it says Commissioner of Canada Elections? Do you see that? So this is a government agency. You can see it was mailed on December 9th, but I didn't get it for a couple weeks. So I don't know if it was actually when it was actually put in the mail. Can I read this letter to you? James, I see your note there. You should interview Peter Zahan about Alberta independence. Alberta needs to leave Canada. All right, I don't know Peter Zahan, but I'll look at that. Okay, so this letter is written to me. Dear Mr. Levant, pursuant to the Canada Elections Act, this is to inform you that the Commissioner of Canada Elections has initiated an administrative investigation into allegations the Rebel News Network Limited has contravened Section 352 and 353 of the Act. Uh-oh, I'm being investigated. The allegations are that Rebel News contravened the Act by, number one, failing to include the required information on third-party election advertising, and two, having incurred over $500 on election advertising expenses, failing to register as a third party in the 43rd general election. Specifically, it is alleged that Rebel News engaged in election advertising in its production and distribution of Lebrano signs during the election period. The conclusion of the administrative investigation may lead the Commissioner of Canada Elections to levy an administrative monetary penalty against Rebel News and or any of its directors or officers to address violations and ensure compliance with the Act. And then it just lists the Act here. It just and then yeah, click on the second page and then scroll up. Thank you. As you may be aware, the definition of election advertising in the Act contains examples, blah, blah, blah. But let me read this part. And do you have the highlighted version of this one? This is the exemption. I want to show this. This is really crazy to me. Just to remind, yeah, so this is really blown up here. As you may be aware, the definition of election advertising in the Act contains examples of some communications that could promote or oppose a registered party or candidate, but they do not constitute election advertising. Among those examples is one that applies to the promotion of the sale of a book if the book was planned to be made available to the public regardless of whether there was to be an election. Okay, so let me slow down here. What is this all about? Can you call up the Lebranos and a lawn sign perhaps? So I wrote this book about Justin Trudeau, and I called it The Lebranos, which is sort of a boomer meme. I understand that. Lebranos hasn't been on air in a while. But I think it's a popular show, and I think everyone knows The Sopranos, you know, Tony Soprano. So, yeah, perfect. So you can see there's the book there on the right. The Lebranos, What the Media Won't Tell You About Justin Trudeau's Corruption. And as you can see, we sort of have that style of The Sopranos, but instead of Tony Soprano and his family, we have a glum-looking Justin Trudeau and his crew. But you see the red version next to it there? That's a lawn sign. And I don't know, yeah, click on the lawn sign. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, scroll down. Yeah, so that's what it looked like. TheLibranos.com, buy the book, Rebel News. So we thought that's a fun way of advertising a political book in an election, because it looks like an election lawn sign, but of course what it says is buy the book. In fact, if anything, this is sort of a joke I used, that's a lawn sign featuring several Liberal candidates. So I put a Justin Trudeau sign up on my lawn. Am I pro-Trudeau? No, I'm just promoting a book. And as I just showed you, I just read it to you from the letter of this investigation commissioner. A book and the promotion of the book is specifically exempted under the law. So why are they investigating me? Let me read a little bit, let me read one more part. And I think it's the other highlighted clip. In the meantime, I'll just read a super chat here. Primpal08, so they bribe the MSM, mainstream media, and implement lawfare against independent media. Welcome to Communist Canada. Isn't that the truth? So this is another pullout from the letter. You can see this whole letter at saverebelnews.com if you want to see it for yourself. Okay, look at this. This is basically saying, if you cop a plea bargain, if you do a deal with us, we'll go easy on you. The fact that the commissioner has decided to proceed by way of an administrative investigation. Oh, can you put it back up there? Let me just read this for a bit. Indicates that he is of the view that the matter would be best be dealt with administratively rather than by way of a criminal prosecution. Hang on, you're going to literally prosecute me with police and like criminal, like jail or something? While you are under no obligation to cooperate with investigators during this investigation, the Act provides that the provision of all reasonable assistance to the Commissioner is one of the factors taken into account in determining the amount of an administrative monetary penalty that could be imposed at the conclusion of the investigation. So that, let me translate from legalese into English. They're saying if you cooperate with us, we'll reduce your fine. And you're lucky that we're not proceeding criminally to throw you in prison. Throw the original letter back up if you can. Sorry I'm calling on you to do so many things, Justin. But I just want to read the end of the letter. So I got this thing over the break. So I'm reading the second last paragraph here. We would like to give the opportunity to representatives of Rebel Media, if they wish to do so, to schedule an interview with investigators from our office early in January 2020. I better get cracking. Alternatively, should an interview not be possible, we invite you to submit all relevant facts and information, as well as any written representation regarding the alleged elections advertising and your status as a third party by Friday, January 31st. Louise Peloton. I keep thinking of the word Peloton when I see this. Louise Peloton is the lead investigator assigned to this file. You may communicate with her via email or by telephone, blah, blah, blah. Sincerely, Mylène Gijou. Oh, c'est très joli. That name is such a pretty name, Mylène Gijou. I like my name, Ezra Levant, and occasionally people think Levant is French. If my name was Mylène Gijou, I would never say I'm just Mylène. I would always use my full name. What's your name? Mylène Gijou. What's yours? It reminds me of, who was that Quebec singer who in the 90s had that song, Non, 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 c'est pas comme ça. Regardez le chinois. You'd never be able to see that song anymore. It was like a, I'm going to get that. It's so important. Regardez le chinois French song. Mitsu or something? What was her name? No, 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 c'est pas comme ça. Was it Mitsu? Yes. Mitsu. Do you know who I'm talking about, Justin? Way before you were born. She's actually older than me. Mitsu turns 50 this year. Her full name is Mitsu Annie Marie Janina. And that's her there. Beautiful woman. Look at those teeth. And she had a hit song. I think she's half Chinese, half Japanese herself or something. And so I think she's allowed to do it. She had a song called Les Chinois, which means the Chinese. And you know, there's another pretty picture of her on her Wikipedia page. Now, I grant you that it is 27 years ago, but why not? You know what? If I could use it. Oh my goodness! And she's got some great photos. She's a big star. There's Mitsu in 2004, and there's one more picture of her. It's extremely important. I tell you this. If my name was Mitsu, I would tell you every day. If my name was Mylène Jijou, I would tell you every day. They're very pretty names. I suppose Ezra Levant, I'm not going to call it a pretty name. So Mylène Jijou wants me to turn myself in. Yeah, look at that. There's Mitsu. I think she's part Japanese. Justin, do you think I should turn myself in? You know what? There's so many crimes I could denounce myself for. Harassment, as in harassing myself. I was gonna expand on that joke. I have a whole joke about that, but I'm not gonna take up any more time. Let's go back to the comments. Pearl Roy, we all need to support the rebel. The turd can't hide from them. Thank you. Scott Coulter, $10. Okay, I'm sorry I was a little bit silly there, but I just can't get over that name, Mylène Jijou. It's a very pretty name for a very ugly process. I don't know why I find it so amusing, and I'm laughing about the whole thing. I'm laughing about the lawn signs. I'm laughing about Mylène Jijou and Mitsu. And maybe I'm just coping with the stress of my own government sending me a formal letter saying they're going to prosecute me. Do you think that's what it is? I mean, it's actually not funny. And my stupid jokes about Mitsu aren't that funny. I just was thinking of the name Mylène Jijou. It's not funny that I have to answer these interrogators in, 28 days. It's not funny that I have to hire a lawyer. It's not funny that I could be fined thousands of dollars, and so could any officer or director of my company. It's not funny that the law specifically exempts books and the promotion of books, and yet I'm being prosecuted for that specific exemption. I think the reason I'm silly on this, Justin, is because what else are you going to do? Like what, you know what, can you go on Amazon.ca? And I'd like you to type in Aaron Wary Trudeau. So there's 3 books that I know about in this election campaign, written by Canadian journalists, all timed for this election campaign. Everyone wants to write about the political candidates during a campaign, right? I mean, there's going to be 100 new Trump books. So this is a book by Aaron Wary. It's got 4 stars, and you can see it's got 9 ratings. You see that? It's got 9 ratings there. Promise and Peril, Justin Trudeau in Power. So it's a love letter to Trudeau. Can you now type in John Ivison Trudeau? So Aaron Wary works for the CBC. His specialty is writing about Justin Trudeau, including Trudeau's socks. Aaron Wary has done a whole series on Trudeau's cool socks. This guy here is John Ivison Trudeau, The Education of a Prime Minister. Also a very pro-Trudeau book, and you can see it has 8 reviews, and it looks like 3.6 out of 5 average ratings. All right, so maybe people didn't really like the book. Now, can you type in the Amazon.ca there, can you type in The Libranos, Ezra Levant? That's me. So I wrote this book called The Libranos, and I didn't have a big fancy publisher. It was published by Rebel News. And, well, wouldn't you know, 283, is that right? Average rate, 283 customer ratings. Average rating 4.8 out of 5. And I don't know if you know this, Justin, but this book hit number 2 on the Amazon.ca. So obviously somebody read it. Can you click on it? Click on it, and then, like, I don't know what the rankings is now because the election's over, but scroll down a little bit, and a little bit further, a little bit further, a little bit further. Oh, okay. Oh, look at that. It's still number 30 in all books. It's number 2 political biography in Canada. Yeah, click at that. Top, yeah, click there. Exactly. So scroll, so number 1, so these number 1 and number 2 and whatever. Scroll down a bit, scroll down a bit. There you go. I'm still number 30 in the whole country. Right next to Instant Pot Cookbook for Beginners. And then there's one underneath called You Badass. You see that? And then, oh, there's Jordan Peterson, number 32. And You Are a Badass, How to Stop Doubting Yourself. And then the Instant Pot Book. So I'm smack dab between two pot books. I'm just behind The Handmaid's Tale there. Scroll down. I'm ahead of Jordan Peterson. The Keto Diet. I should read that. Think and Grow Rich. Okay. There's Michelle Obama. So I'm number 30. I'm right in the thick of it. I'm surprised I'm that high in the. This is the Amazon.ca, and you can see this is fiction and nonfiction, and cookbooks and pot books. So it's the hardest list to be on, right? Like if I were to sort your shit out, that's funny. I should probably read that. What's my point? I think, and DJ Freak chipped in $20, thank you. I think they're coming for my book and not Aaron Wary's book and not John Iveson's book for an obvious reason. Because I criticized Justin Trudeau and those other guys didn't. And I'm going to try and stop making jokes about Mylène Jijou. And I'm going to try and stop making jokes about all these things because it's actually extremely unfunny. Extremely unfunny, isn't it? It's 1 o'clock, but there's one more super chat. $10 from Scott Coulter. There we go. Thanks very much, Scott. I appreciate that. All right, it's 1:01, and we had a bit of a ramble today. It's nice to be back on the live chat. Thank you very much for joining. Tune in tonight at 8 Eastern if you want to hear more about Iran. Can I invite one last thing before we go? Can you go to saverebelnews.com? Just saverebelnews.com. If you want to read this letter from Mylène Jijou, go to saverebelnews.com and scroll down. You can see the full letter there. It's just PDF'd. I did a video about it. There's me looking fat. Then I said, what should I do? Should I take the deal? Should I apologize to Trudeau for writing a book critical of him? Should I promise to be more like Aaron Wary, who writes about fancy socks? Should I sign up for the media bailout? Should I just pay the $5,000 fine and promise not to call Trudeau corrupt anymore? If you want to chip in, please do, because I'm going to need some lawyers for this one, folks. If you want to chip in $10, you can, or whatever. All right. Well, it's 1:02. I'm a little bit depressed now. I was joking 5 minutes ago, and now I'm sad. But we fight, because what else are you going to do? That's it, folks. I'll see some of you again at 8 p.m. Until then, on behalf of all of us at Rebel World Headquarters to you around the world, good night. Keep fighting for freedom.